You're live.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Virtual Learning Advisory Committee meeting as we know it at VLAC. And we appreciate you being here this morning with us. We will follow an agenda and I'll share that with you momentarily. We know that educational technology and virtual learning are very important in the Commonwealth as we provide enhanced learning experiences for our students and teachers. Using the educational technology plan, Virginia's plan as a foundation, students have access to technology and resources. They're able to use a variety of applications in multimedia, simulations, adaptive software, and finally, they're able to design, collaborate, and develop digital skills that will be valuable as they shape their future. So we thank you again for your participation on this committee, and we look forward to a very productive meeting. We're pleased to have superintendents and designees. We have folks from representatives from community organizations. And what I will do is I will stop sharing just because we have some new folks. We will allow, as I called regions, to introduce yourselves. Just come off of mute and give your name and maybe your position. So, Region 1?
But I didn't.
Region 2? Region 3? See, I thought I saw Dr. Davis. Is he still in the room?
I am. I was fighting the microphone there for a minute, my camera. Yeah, Region 3, Trey Davis, Superintendent, Richmond County Public Schools. Glad to be here.
Thank you. Region 4?
Hi, I'm Stephanie Sullivan, Associate Superintendent, Prince William County.
Region 5?
Morning, Tom Lundquist, Director of Technology, Stanton City Schools.
Region 6? Region 7?
Rob Graham, Superintendent, Pulaski.
I believe we have a designee as well here.
Lincoln Whitaker, Director of Technology for Pulaski.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Region 8?
Robbie Mason, Superintendent, Charlotte County Schools.
Yes. VSBA?
Rodney Jordan, representing VSBA. I'm the co-chair of the Task Force on Students in Schools in Challenging Environments.
VAS? She hasn't come in yet. WHRO?
Hi, I'm Mitzi Fell-Seward at WHO, Vice President of Digital Learning.
All right. And then we'll start with Dr. Wallace and we'll come down. Virtual Virginia before we.
Thanks, Reg. Brian Mott, Virtual Virginia Executive Director.
Thank you. And Dr. Wallace.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Michelle Wallace, Assistant Superintendent of Instruction for Virginia.
Calypso.
I'm Calypso Gilstrap, the Associate Director of the Office of Educational Technology and Classroom Innovation.
Meg.
Hi, I'm Meg Foley. I'm the newly titled Digital Learning Coordinator
in the same office as Calypso is. I'm not going to say it. It's too long.
Keisha?
Good morning, everyone. Keisha Tennessee, the K-12 Computer Science Coordinator in the Office of Educational Technology and Classroom Innovation.
John?
Hello, John Mustachio, E-rate Coordinator and K-12 Specialist in the Office of Cybersecurity and Risk Management.
This is awesome. We did have a note that someone will be popping in just a few minutes late, representing Region 1, Ernie Longworth. But we appreciate again you being here and appreciate the work that you bring to the school. And as we move our introducing Dr. Wallace to provide greetings and purpose, then we will use these tenets, access, use, and design to move through our agenda as you see on your screen. So Dr. Wallace.
Good morning again. That takes it's a little challenge sometimes to come back off of mute. Welcome to everyone officially, and thank you very much for your attendance today. We have an engaging meeting planned for you today, whereby we will be getting feedback from you around access, use, and design, but did want to just kind of highlight in the last week for VDOE, there have been some exciting announcements. There are lots of things going on in the instructional world for VDOE, with the new standards of learning being implemented in math and English this year. We had computer science standards, as you guys know, that were approved. And so we're working on instructional guides for computer science standards to be integrated into our new standards of learning for English and math, as well as into other standards of learning previously approved, which include history, and then our science standards of learning, which will be revisited in February, but they will not be changing. So just wanted to, kind of update you. And as far as educational technology goes, one of the goals that we have here in instruction is to really integrate the technology skills into our instructional guides that we are creating for our content areas, and computer science is one area that is a huge integral part of our work, to make sure that students are learning safely on devices that have been issued by their schools to align with the cell phone policy, and also to integrate those internet safety policies that we passed earlier this year, actually. So recently released, we wanted to make sure that everyone was aware, including our stakeholders, of the support framework, the new school performance and support framework that was released. There was a new web page devoted to this, released on Friday, and this helps schools to determine where they would be under the new system based on the performance categories. And while this group does not focus on that work, we did want to draw your attention to that work and just let you know that we understand technology is an integral part of our new system with our standards of learning. And so we want to make sure that we get feedback from you as divisions and also as stakeholders, so that we can ensure, as this school performance and support framework is implemented, that you're getting the supports you need to be successful with that support framework from the instructional office. And that includes our Office of Educational Technology. And so that is, we just make sure that you have an opportunity to check out that webpage. If you have not, it deeply describes 4 divisions, how the different calculations occur. And then there are some support pages for educators and parents, so that you can get parents involved in this journey as well. And then there are other pages that will be updated as in the next coming months, to continue the support that's provided to school divisions around this new process. And so with that, I will turn it back over to Retchie. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you. As we look at the purpose, we have this in the email that was sent out. So we know that we're here because it's mandated by law. And we are all looking at the foundation of educational technology, virtual learning, and as strategically placed and implemented into school divisions. We have expanded our focus to align with the Virginia EdTech Plan, which includes virtual learning, digital learning integration standards, computer science standards, in addition to other initiatives, as Dr. Wallace described, because all of our work impacts the student achievement. So we thought that we'd take a moment to use the tenant access as we provide technology. We've done very well across the Commonwealth with providing access to technology, but to provide these success stories and how students achieve in various ways. Prince Edward County Schools engage students in a digital anatomy table, and it shows segments of students actually doing a visualization and dissection of a real human, layer by layer. So I'll just play a little of this video.
Look, I'm learning words too here. Okay, so what do we say about why it might be dangerous to have a low heart rate?
And as you heard, they're talking about low blood pressure and low heart rate, and you can see the human heart right there, and they can navigate this so well. It is just really innovative and cool to see. Secondly, I would like for Calypso to share, she just recently went to CETA, so there was another exciting showcase of access to technology.
Yeah, so I was privileged to get to go to the CETA, which is the State Education Technology Directors Association. It's national level. There's 40-something states that are members. And we were privileged to get to introduce Arlington Technology Career Center students who had taken a statistics class last year. And they used their resources, their access to their resources, to be able to do a real world problem. So the student who's speaking in the picture and on the social media post was actually talking about how he wants to be an environmental scientist when he grows up. And so he used his statistics project to explore if your views of the way climate change is affecting your life is affected by your the demographics or the financial status of your family. And he spoke so highly of the ability to access Canvas because his teacher put resources there, and she had excellent sequencing of the lessons. They also are dual enrollment, so they were able to access their college community library, and they also were able to access the information from the statewide data portal. And because they were doing this real world application, they just felt really inspired about what was going to come next. And we're really grateful that we provided these tools. And of course, they did talk about how they used the technology and then how they designed their final products. But if we didn't have access to begin with of Canvas, the community college system, and the statewide data portal, they wouldn't have been able to use it and to give the final conclusion, which he said there was no correlation between your views on climate change and your financial situation. So just so you know, it was amazing to watch 48 other states like look around the room and be like, Virginia's pretty awesome. So thank you all for sending our kids to their schools and giving them access to these awesome resources so they can go out and make real change in the world.
Thank you. We're going to have Dr. Meg Foley and Dr. Brian Mott both present and show you how we are actually having access and use with virtual learning.
Thank you, Reg. Welcome, everyone. It is so great to see everyone again. I hope everything is going well with school year and looking forward to these upcoming holidays. I'm going to share some information about the multi-division online provider program. And I'm going to start with the benefits of the MOP program. I pulled a couple and just put them on the slide. So we know that through the MOP program, students have increased access to courses that may be either unavailable in their rolling school or cannot fit into a student's busy schedule. We also have, through the MOP program, rolling enrollment into courses. I know the military child utilizes this a lot to keep their courses if perhaps a parent and they're going overseas. There are both full-time and part-time options available, and that all stems from the actual contract that the school division may have with a provider or more than one provider, and flexibility in attendance as far as time and place. So you can see some data here, and this is from last school year. They did, through the MOP program, have just under 10,000 student enrollments, and from that stemmed almost 55,000 course enrollments. You can see that there is a larger percentage of full-time students in the MOP program, 74%, versus part-time students of 26%. Thank you, Reggie. So for the course offerings, providers may, of course, offer an array of approved courses. It is totally up to the provider on what courses and what levels they will offer. They do oftentimes include advanced learning opportunities that could be advanced placement courses, CTE approved courses, and then advanced learning courses such as an honors course that's approved at the local level, or sometimes a higher level of math or science may be considered an advanced learning course. Course approvals vary based on the nature of the course. So we do have an upcoming window, which will open January 1st, where courses can be submitted for approval. And if it is a standards-based course, we do require third-party correlations verified by us through VDOE, and that requires 90% above correlation on both upper and lower standards to be approved for offering to Virginia students. Then we have specific CTE courses because there's another level there. They are actually approved by our CTE personnel at the VDOE, and the providers submit a CTE competency alignment form. We also have elective courses that are submitted, and we do not approve them. Elective courses are approved at the local level, but in essence, we want to provide that information to our stakeholders, so they are included on the final bullet there, our MOP query tool. And so we list them out, and the MOP query tool we're not going to go out to, but it is available on the VDOE website, and you can run reports. Our stakeholders, our school divisions, parents, students alike have used that tool to see what provider offers which courses, what provider offers at what level of instruction. For instance, some provide at K-12, some may only focus on 6-12. So it has a multitude of information on the query tool. We are also in-house working with our data services personnel, and we are working to improve that reporting tool and get more targeted results. We are looking to pull out specific courses and have additional fields such as CTE so that the end user has a clear report of what's available and what's approved. Thank you, Reggie. So the MOP program does support the school performance and support framework. For instance, one example is through achievement. And this is legislation that was passed, and it has to do with the MOP program specifically. At the time, our policy personnel worked with the patron of the bill to devise a solution to inform the intent of this legislation. And I'll talk a little bit more in the next slide. And so what came out of this is that the multi-division online provider is now part of the school quality profiles. So this is exciting. It took quite a bit of work through VDOE and in partnership with the designer of the SQPs, but it has come to fruition, and we are really excited about the product that has come out. As you can see, it is now the final tab on the SQPs. There is a MOP tab, and then this is the state one that comes up, and it talks about just a little bit of the general information about the multi-division online provider program, about the code that allows the MOPS to function, what the purpose of the MOPS are, and it does tell that the data shown on the MOP tab is limited to students who participate full-time, and that was what was determined by policy and the patron of the bill as to the targeted information on this. This is just an example that I pulled up of the school quality profile for MOPS. This is English reading, and this is statewide. So as you can see, there is a third bar that has the full-time MOPS student. So it starts with all students, then not a full-time MOPS student, and then full-time MOPS students. So it is pretty clear as far as what is the achievement. And then it also is broken down into several reporting categories below. So as the user will click on them, then that information can be drilled down. So this is statewide, but also a user may look at division-wide information as well as school-wide information. And if there is no MOP full-time student enrollment there, then that will be noted to you. Thank you, Reggie. So in addition to the achievement area, we did see that the multi-division online provider program does have another place in the school performance and support framework, and that would be in the area of engagement. And so we do know, and we hear from our families and from our divisions and from our providers that they offer this program and that they value it. And they value it because of the way that they feel that students appreciate the program and appreciate school. We do have a large population of previously homeschooled students that utilize the MOP program. And that's why we believe that there's such a percentage of the full-time versus part-time enrollment. And so every year, as part of our monitoring process, we do have a survey link that goes out via our providers to all of the families that have accessed courses through a multi-division online provider. And so in the area of engagement, we just pulled a couple demographics information that was reported to us, and looking at the quality of the course that the child had taken, and was it good? 98% strongly agreed or agreed. So they were happy with the quality of the online course. Another question that really stuck out to us, was it appropriately personalized to meet the unique needs of the child? And again, 87% said yes. Now, is there a little bit of area for growth? Of course there is, but this allows us to also look and target how can we work with our providers to ensure that the quality, the engagement, and appropriateness is there for our students. How often did your child experience technical issues? 95% never or rarely. And that is incredible. When Reggie and I started with the program 5 or 6 years ago now, Reggie, that was a lot higher of a number. But things have really improved in that area. And so that is just something that we look at as we get these results. What are our grows and what are our glows, and how are we doing? Thank you, Reg. So now that I've talked a little bit about the multi-division online provider program, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Brian Mott. As you know, Dr. Brian Mott is our Executive Director of the Virtual Virginia program. And so, Brian, take it away.
Thanks, Dr. Foley. Good morning, everybody. Today, we're talking about at Virtual Virginia, the variety of advanced course pathways. And when we talk about any of these pathways, whether it be AP, dual enrollment, early world language, or computer science, the goal is really maximizing student success, maximizing their potential. At Virtual Virginia, we do that as a complement to what's available locally. So as Dr. Foley mentioned, some of the MOPS are about 75% full-time, 25% part-time. We're the inverse of that. Virtual Virginia, about 75–80% of our students are part-time, taking 1 or 2 courses in a building, and the other 20–25% annually are full-time students. So we operate a little bit differently, but again, the goal is the same. It's to maximize student success and outcomes. And I'm going to share a few of these highlights with you briefly this morning. The first is AP courses. At Virtual Virginia, we offer 27 AP courses in a variety of subject areas. These are all taught by Virginia certified educators, properly endorsed in their subject areas, and we're excited to welcome AP German this year as our newest AP offering. Historically, AP courses have provided many students in Virginia with access to courses they weren't able to have locally, whether that's a schedule conflict or the course not being available. And many of you who have been here for a while, I'm not going to name names, but can remember when Virtual Virginia's bread and butter, the backbone of the program, was AP courses. Obviously, we've grown in the decades since, but this is a space that we take great pride in our program and continually, year over year, offering these courses to students. A growing space for us is dual credit, dual enrollment. And through our Virtual Virginia dual enrollment program, students in 11th and 12th grade throughout the state can enroll in dual enrollment college credit or prepare for a work-ready cybersecurity certificate as well. That cyber certificate prepares students for the information and technology concepts. So they're prepared for that CompTIA Network Security Plus and A+ exams. The UCGS, the Uniform Certificate of General Studies, that's designed for students who plan to transfer to a 4-year university within the state. It helps them knock out some of those lower division general education requirements and is accepted at all 4-year public colleges and universities in Virginia, as well as many private colleges and universities in the Commonwealth as well. In our Passport program, students who enroll through Virtual Virginia can complete that Passport. That's a collection of transferable courses that are accepted at 4-year public universities, as well as many private throughout the state, knocking out, again, some of those lower division general education requirements. So we see dual enrollment going throughout the state, and we see it growing here at Virtual Virginia as well. In addition, early math. Students in grades 6 through 8 can enroll in advanced math courses through Virtual Virginia. Here are 3 examples or pathways in which students can complete early math at the middle school level. This helps students accelerate. This helps our math learners accelerate in middle school. It supports schools that need to offer or want to offer Algebra 1 in middle school. We provide flexibility there. And it supports those sequential math skills with different pathways in students in grades 6, 7, and 8. And of course, it's all about charting success for students. And these setting us up for advanced coursework in high school often begins in middle school. So some of these pathways you see before you help students down the road as well prepare for some of those dual credit and AP programs as they begin in middle school. World language, again, in middle school, the focus here, those early world language studies. What we're finding now this year is these are becoming more and more difficult to staff locally. So many of our middle schools are focusing on the early world language studies so students can focus on those AP and dual enrollment language studies once they get to high school. Again, charting that path early in middle school through advanced coursework, helping to set students up for later in high school. And CTE. CTE is becoming difficult to staff as well in the Commonwealth. We are really proud to offer CTE courses to students. We have some newer courses that help us complete that sequential elective requirement. Business marketing and business management are an example there. Early childhood education and family and human sciences is another sequential elective example. And we're really excited to offer health informatics as our newest CTE offering as well. And computer science. We know there's been a gap in offering computer science across the state for many years. And we're excited to see that gap close, but it still exists. And what we're seeing, some of those gaps is, offering computer science foundation in middle school, as many middle schools in Virginia struggle to offer that course as the foundation to even begin later computer science courses. We're always excited at Virtual Virginia to make that available statewide for students and schools as they chart that computer science pathway as well. And part of the conversation today, and I'm excited to hear what the group shares in just a bit. Part of the conversation, we talk about advanced coursework and supporting students for those advanced pathways. We have to consider summer learning. Summer learning continues to grow at Virtual Virginia. It continues to be a space where we see students taking advantage of flexibility and completing course requirement. Last summer, our top courses were EPF, Health and PE9, Geometry, Algebra 2, and those Spanish 1, 2, and 3. You know, if I had to make a list of students who are trying to complete courses or get ahead over summer, it would look very similar to that. So it's exciting to see summer continue to grow as other numbers have normalized at Virtual Virginia over the past few years. But it's exciting to see those top courses because we know why students are taking advantage of the summer as they either try to advance or knock out classes that they don't have flexibility or time to take in the school year ahead. So as I mentioned, it's all about maximizing student potential and leveraging virtual programs. And so at Virtual Virginia, we are excited to be part of that again, year over year, but we're also excited about the change and offering new advanced pathways for students in many different areas. Thank you, Reg. I believe that's it for me.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Foley, Dr. Mott. We appreciate and we know that we have a robust virtual programs in Virginia. We want to give the committee an opportunity to break out, and we will put you in assigned rooms, and we'll shave our time back to about 10 minutes now. And we want you to discuss this first problem statement and then just designate someone to take a few notes and report back to the full committee when I bring you back. So what I will do is put the problem statement on the screen, and I'm going to create 3 breakout rooms. So let's see, Brian. All right, everyone should be in a room. Room 1, Ernie.
Hey, Reggie, I can hear you now.
All right, did you see room 1 assigned to you?
Oh, nope, but I'll look for that now. Hmm.
There's a join button.
I'm not seeing that. If you like, I can just wait till we get into the next room or the main group.
All right. I can put you in room 2 then.
Oh,
You
there it
see.
is. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Let me move you back to 1 though.
Okay.
All right, there we go.
All right.
Thank you. All right. Exciting discussion. I would like for someone to give us the 60-second version of your discussion. So group one.
That would be group one would be me, Trey Davis, County Superintendent. We discussed, I think part of our process was to go over terms and potential solutions. One of the main terms we had was flexibility, the ability to have summer and school year programs allow for courses to be taken outside. And flexibility was really the theme word that went through the rest of these terms. Next one is obviously scheduling, allows students to take various courses during the school year, online or during the summer. Once again, flexibility. Advancement allows for students to get ahead and to be able to maybe even lessen their school year classes because they balance their work, play. The other one is creativity, allows for flexibility in the schedule. Recovery, students could retake courses if they pass the SOL. If they fail the course, they can retake the course in the summer, get the credit. Allows for on-time graduation. Students can either graduate early. They can also allow them to stay on graduation for on-time purposes. The other one is equity, allows for all students to be able to take the course. In some small schools, or even everywhere, the inability to find a licensed teacher to teach a particular course, Virtual Virginia probably has that access to be able to offer a wide variety of courses that we don't offer. Like in small schools, we have Spanish, sometimes French, but we don't have German, we don't have Latin. Virtual Virginia allows us that. And the last word is access. Students the opportunity to take courses. It also allows for students with disabilities the opportunity to take courses, and it just fits into their schedule. So that's their report.
Wow, we're going to take you on the road with us. Group two. Thank you, sir. Group two.
Someone from group two. Perhaps Brian?
Yeah, we
Dr.
talked.
Juan?
Yeah, I'll begin. Yeah, we talked about different use cases, right? So how are schools leveraging virtual learning and not just Virtual Virginia, but virtual learning in different ways? And I referenced about how there are whole classes that sit and take virtual courses during the day. There are 1 to 2 students that sit in classrooms and take virtual courses throughout the day. So we're seeing virtual learning leveraged in a variety of different ways at different geographic locations, sometimes in the same division, right? That'll be a certain full-time staff the division couldn't find. They're leveraging Virtual Virginia for that. And in another case, it could be just a few students that didn't necessitate a course being offered locally, just a handful of students that the division is leveraging virtual learning, excuse me. I'm going to keep saying that throughout the entire meeting today. We're leveraging virtual learning for. So we've seen use case change and evolve over the last 5 to 10 years.
All right, thank you. Group three.
I love that when two groups go before us and they say all the things that we talked about too, and we were like completely separate. We talked about flexibility, we talked about scheduling, and we talked about permission, basically, that one of the best things that we can do to have an action plan is to educate our leaders on programs that are available, how other school divisions are using those programs, looking at the guidance, and being really explicit as a basically BDOE could be more explicit about this is what is allowable in these cases, and this is how other school divisions are doing that. So the action plan also would require mindset changes from traditional education to accepting virtual learning as being equal to an in-person traditional requirement. So if a student's taking EPF during the summertime, that is the same quality education as taking it during the regular school year, because some of our stakeholders probably believe that summer school is easier or not as high quality, and we need to change the mindset and culture of that.
Excellent. Thank you all for sharing. And as we move forward in our agenda, we'll continue this process now that we've gone through the first portion with use. And here we have some examples of use in the classroom where students are providing different kinds of technologies and access to applications that provide deeper learning. So these are from virtual learning. So we wanted to, the first was an in-class example of some innovative technology. Now we want to just give you some examples. And I won't read all of these. I'll allow you to read. I'll just highlight. This is from a math class, AFDA, and using quadratic functions as students and teachers engage in class. They're able to remediate, they're able to help students to move forward by providing individual assistance. Spanish 3, a live session with a chef who's in another state and actually talking and speaking throughout the session in Spanish and providing authentic information and recipes. This visual arts, great in middle school. These students are very talented in not only designing and creating their work, but now publishing and showcasing their work in a virtual art gallery. Very talented. World history, where students use an application to actually talk about and organize ideas and put those together then to respond to an assessment about ancient civilizations. U.S. government, how appropriate, since we've gone through an election where they're talking about Congress and using this information to organize, to have live discussions about what is legislated and the whole congressional structure. And then finally, life science, where a teacher used a farm right in Floyd, Virginia, to not only have students visit and learn and talk about renewable technologies and sustainable agriculture, but having guest speakers along with the lesson so that they're able to expand that and learn from those experts out in the field. So now we'll switch gears and have Calypso talk about the model policy concerning internet safety.
Hello, if you have not been keeping up with the great news coming out of VDOE in June, we did adopt a model policy concerning internet safety as legislated. The purpose was to make sure that our students, when they are using they are using the internet, that it is safe, healthy, and being used for educational purposes. And we also wanted to make sure that our leaders allow for kids to use the internet safely, that the teachers are designing lessons that keep the kids safe, and that students are using the internet safe. So in the chat, I have put the model policy concerning internet safety. You could change the slide, Reggie, I appreciate it. So this is a background on the statute that required us and what the purpose was, and then also what we were responsible for. So we have adopted the model policy, but the State Board of Education requested in June, when they adopted the policy, that we would revisit the policy and ask stakeholders for feedback with the purpose or intention of updating the policy as you guys started to work on integrating it into your schools. So our problem statement is going to be focused around asking for what's happening in your school divisions, in your virtual programs, about internet safety and how we're using it. And then also, if you have feedback for what we can do to update the policy to make sure that it is reflective of what's actually happening in our schools. Next slide. So the guiding principles of this document are: one, we would make sure that leaders are clear that they need to invest in security. So making sure we have filters, making sure that we have updated broadband access, those type things that Dr. Mustachio would be happy to talk to your technology directors about E-rate and the security investments needed. Integrating digital wellness into the core curriculum. I think actually the model policy concerning internet safety goes so well with our cell phone policy that also came out, that it's about using screens in a healthy, safe, and educational way. Helping our students with internet safety training, as well as working with our law enforcement, with our educators and leaders to make sure they understand what are the concerns in the internet. For instance, with the most, current problems with human trafficking, cybersecurity, ransoming, phishing, those type things. Making sure our teachers have high quality professional learning opportunities so they can stay aware of what internet safety looks like. And then, especially with the cell phone policy and our new AI guidance coming out, then making sure our students understand how to use the internet safe, legal, and ethically. Next slide. We have also put model instructional practices on Go Open VA. There is a hub called the Internet Safety Hub. These are the 6 collections we have in there. We have about 95 items from a variety of users, and we're looking to build more resources in there. So we would be happy to, in this time of reflection, for you to be able to share resources you'd like for us to add. Like if you're using a certain vendor or a certain curriculum, or you're using professional development or a partner, we would love to have those added to our instructional practices. And now time for you all to have some time to chat about it. So our problem statement is the model policy concerning internet safety must be refined to better balance student safety, privacy, and educational benefits, fostering a secure and productive online learning environment. So we have passed the policy. We have shared instructional resources. 6 months later, where are we at? How can the Virginia Department of Education and the State Board of Education better refine the policy to make it safer and also practical to make sure we are still being able to support virtual learning?
All right, and now we are picking up speed. I'll open the rooms.
Group 1 is back, Reg.
All right, thank you. Let me close the rooms. You know, when you close the rooms, you get another 60 seconds. So I was broadcasting the message. So thank you for your discussion and work. Group 1, let's have some comments from you.
I'll take group 1. And so what we talked about is with all the educational changes and competing priorities, that this might not be an area that they had the opportunity to really focus upon, so that this revising moment might be perfect timing, especially with our next section that is coming up with increased focus on AI. And so that's basically what we said, is that it would afford the opportunity for deeper delving into the model policy. And also, as we're considering other priorities, such as looking at division level AI guidance, acceptable use policies, etc. And then we did have Mitzi share just a wonderful opportunity that they are doing that incorporates the model policy at WHRO. And Mitzi, if you wanted to share a little bit about that.
Sure. No, it's with a partnership, and it's with funding, funding with eMedia VA and the Virginia Department of Education. And we have a couple of different projects going on, but one of them is, and Calypso can actually jump in here maybe even better than me, but we are taking the House Bill 1215 that requires PE 7th and 8th grade students to get that hour of public safety training. And in this project, we've combined the model internet policy. We're working to create content and lessons and really some interactive ways for students to be able to apply what maybe they have learned through their instruction that's going to be provided, and then engage through game-based scenarios in about 6 different categories. But we are embedding then the policies of the model internet policy along with the guidelines that are required for that, with things like situational awareness. And so all of that content will come out and be available no later than the end of June. But that project has kicked off, and we're actually starting our training with teachers across the Commonwealth in partnership with the VDOE next week.
Thank you, Mitzi.
That's probably, I really shouldn't play favorites, but that might be my favorite public media project this year. And my favorite thing about it is, one, it's going to be a game system, which is not necessarily screens. And so we're going to be able to teach internet safety and how to use the internet without using screens, which is pretty innovative. And so for those of you who work in school divisions, get with your health and PE teachers for 7th and 8th grade and get them to the PE training this summer. That's at JMU, because that is where they're going to learn about this full package of situational awareness and internet safety things. And we're hoping also that it'll be adaptable and all those things in eMedia, so that we can filtrate all of the grades to be able to make sure kids are learning about safety, not just being told how to use a device, but how to use it safely.
Excellent. Group 2.
Right. For group 2, the conversation was regarding how internet safety is a multi-tiered, multifaceted approach. So you have the physical side of things, hardening your network. And so there was a lot of conversation on the positive impact of the cell phone policy. For example, limiting students' ability to circumvent your network safety, with the students having access to their hotspots, which you can convert your phones to be. And so with that conversation, though, ago, we discussed having more of an increased consciousness about this model policy in light of the cell phone policy, because this policy, when you think about some of the points that Calypso brought up with the Go Open VA areas of focus, like trusted adults, copyright, screen time, a lot of that is knowledge-based, right? Conceptual understanding and awareness. And when we think about attacks such as ransomware and phishing, a number of those things is based on a lack of knowledge, whether it's from the students or family members or educators in the building. So we need sort of that balanced approach of that emphasis on both sets of policies within the school division. Another point of reference from that conversation was it would be nice if there were student-created PSAs that can be shared across the Commonwealth, as well as looking at some data points at the end of the year to see how have these policies impacted instruction overall.
Excellent. Group 3.
Well, in our group, we talked about articulating an idea of that this model policy helped to get us thinking about behavior as far as life skills that are developed over time, and that instruction that comes from to students will hopefully work into their daily behavior, not only for their behavior in schools, but outside the school, but also from a perspective of protecting infrastructure through student behavior, through these safety policies. So we talked a little bit about the policy helping to clean up some language that was already being used within school divisions that tech directors have been putting in place, including into their acceptable use policies and such. But also talking about the challenge of looking at what materials teachers are using, or digital materials teachers are using to, and platforms they're using to instruct with, and ensuring that those materials and those platforms that are being used by the teachers are actually protecting students' personal data, as well as making sure that the materials that they're using in those digital platforms are high quality for instruction.
Excellent. I know that Calypso is excited about all of the ideas and the extension that you've provided. And that's what this committee is about, to provide your perspectives and take the expertise from your regions and your organizations and help us promote and to engage with school divisions on a higher level as we share these initiatives. So the final success story is really under the tenet of design. And this really is an exciting story with Washington County and Blue Ridge. I have to give credit to who produced these podcasts, Blue Ridge PBS, in partnership with Virginia Department of Ed, of course, in collaboration with VISTE, the Virginia Society for Technology and Education. And so Tom Landon, the host, he is just incredible as he goes across the state, finding ways to showcase school divisions and what work is being done with instructional technology, education, the applications and the software and the hardware that's used, and the virtual learning. So all of that's combined into one really here, and you'll see some practical design uses and access, all three really embedded into this. So the story speaks for itself.
Today we travel to the Southwest Virginia Higher Education Center in Abingdon, Virginia, to visit Tech Trek, a mobile STEM lab that Washington County Schools built to give students and educators the opportunity to build their skill set using the latest in instructional technology, including robots, drones, and virtual reality. I spoke to two instructional technology resource teachers who had a good idea, and with the help and support of their administrators, were able to realize their dream of creating a mobile STEM lab.
What if we, had this idea, we make a mobile STEM lab that could travel between the schools, because, each school might have a couple iPads or a couple drones or a couple spheros, but no classroom sets. We could have a whole classroom sets, pull up to a school, use them, because usually when you use a drone in a school, it sits on a shelf for a month, and they might use it again. But that way, when it's sitting on the shelf, it's actually a different school being used again. So instead of just sitting a lot everything gets used all the time. So we did get help from our Career and Technical Center, Gene Greer, his class, carpentry classes, helped do a lot of the trim work in here, the flooring, that kind of stuff. So we got a lot of students in here helping with us build it, but we did do a lot of the work ourselves.
Well, what a great idea too to involve the kids. How did that come about, Thomas?
It was a group effort. I mean, really, the kids came in and helped do a lot. Plus, it was a time for them to learn how to do the flooring and things that they might not get to do in a regular class setting. So it was really like kind of putting together a tiny house, I guess you could say. And luckily, Mr. Greer was very agreeable to let us come in his classroom and kind of take it over for a few weeks. And his kids were really excited about getting in here and helping us out.
Yeah, no, that's great. And it's that practical application which is at the heart of everything that we do. What led you guys to think that drones would be a good thing to put in the hands of teachers early?
It's one of those things that drones, robotics. There's a lot of careers kind of moving to those directions, and the idea is that we get kids interested early, and then it's kind of technologies, and they maybe pursue some careers. One of our long-term goals is to connect these to careers, have some people from the outside come in and also teach from the trailer about how they use this technology in their career. That's kind of our long-term goal. The drones are one of those things that there's a lot of places that are unsafe for humans to go, just because of whatever it is here on Earth, that we can send a drone in, be safe, and collect data whatever we need to. And a lot of careers that do that, and that's what we think that drones are going to become an important part. That's why we pick drones, and you can tell like some of the ones that maybe not have. Some kids have played with drones before, some have not. Some have played with robots, they have not or not. And there's the excitement the kids get. We're like, oh, look at this cool thing, they want to fly it, and then we start actually using it to learn. They're like, oh, this is kind of neat. That we enjoy doing this.
Yeah, those are the Sphero robots. Those are the Sphero bolts. They are a very, very user friendly and very kind of a beginner intro into like robotics. And they actually have one that is just like the BB-8 sphere. It looks just like it.
It could also be used for different things. Let's say a science class wants to go out to a Hungry Mother State Park or somewhere and gather some data or something. This gives them a classroom on wheels. Essentially, they could go get data, come in here, use microscopes, whatever they need to do, collect data. They go back out in the field. It has various things that we'd like to possibly be able to use it for.
This is Activated Learning from Blue Ridge PBS in partnership with the Virginia Department of Education and in collaboration with Visti.
Wow, that is just incredible, and we appreciate the work that all of our constituents are doing across the state. Now I would like to introduce Ms. Keisha Tennessee, who will provide some information on digital learning, AI, and then computer science.
Yes, so as I prepare to share some information on some partnerships that we have, it's important to note that when we think about AI literacy, we're both considering what is AI and then how to use AI. And so the VDOE, VAST, and ALP partnered for the Generative AI Year of Learning initiative. This began in late August, and we have already seen tremendous impact across the state. There are 75 school divisions participating in this work with about 421 division leaders in total. School divisions meet in a regional cohort model, really to foster that collaboration and sustainability outside of the scope of this 4-monthly workshop series. The overall goal of the training is for division leaders to not only have a foundation of what AI is and to understand its potential impact, but truly understand how to implement AI responsibly and effectively with a tangible outcome being a division-specific implementation plan. So that's the overall goal of this work. They have already conducted an initial survey of participants so far. So on the next slide, you can see there that it states 64% of participants have felt confident that they understand and know how generative AI could benefit them. Likewise, over 96% of the participants express optimism and kind of excitement about the potential of AI in K-12 instruction. That excitement is balanced with about 64% indicating concerns about potential student misuse. But again, considering what that tangible outcome is of the implementation plan for the division, they will be addressing matters such as student potential misuse. In addition to our school division partnerships in the space of AI, we have also partnered with Germanna Community College. And this is targeted towards our educators, so our classroom teachers. This too is at no cost because the previous one is also at no cost. The training here is to provide educators with an overview of AI and the AI applications that may be used in the classroom. So this is not focused on student use of AI, but the teacher, how the teacher could leverage AI tools. The training includes hands-on activity and practical strategies such as lesson planning. This was provided in person and with virtual options for the educator. So as I've provided sort of that very brief overview of some of our ongoing work outside in the field as AI is advancing and really around us so prevalently, I wanted to also bring your attention to what is taking place in computer science. Computer science is very fundamental when we think about the emerging of AI. And so on the next slide, I have a lovely graphic here from Teach AI, which really is the national focus of the fundamental nature of implementing computer science in our school divisions, because some of the core tenets in computer science allow for the creativity, the development, and the advancement of AI. And it also helps us foster greater understanding when we think about data science, our cyber concerns, and quantum computing that is on the rise. And so our next slide, in addition, as we keep things going, is an update from our last meeting. We wanted to make you aware, Dr. Wallace referenced this in the opening, that the 2024 Computer Science Standards of Learning was fully adopted in June of 2024. School divisions are to be in full implementation fall of 2025. Our standards are K-12. K-8 is integrated within all of the areas of the classroom teacher, perhaps through instruction with your librarians, media specialists, but that is for all K-8 students. Those upper level standards are for our standalone courses, so that middle school course, then our computer science elective courses. A number of those courses was on Dr. Mott's slide when he talked about opportunities with Virtual Virginia. And so those standards address things such as AI, cybersecurity, and so forth. Some other exciting things in the world of computer science for Virginia is that our Advancing Computer Science Education Grant, which is appropriated funding from the General Assembly of about $1.35 million for this fiscal year. We had our first round of requests for proposals and with a September deadline, and the most recent deadline was for November. And that provides funding to school divisions for the implementation of the computer science standards, which includes not only resource development, but student programming as well. And next month, we have our Computer Science Education Week. This is a national week that emphasizes and recognizes CS. The date there is on the screen, December 9th and the 15th. In accordance as we've had for several years, there will be a governor's proclamation in partnership with Code VA. We'll have a computer science virtual summit this year. So that would be the first time of a virtual summit free for all educators and those within the Commonwealth. And likewise, at our VISTE conference, there will be a computer science focus area that we will have there. This is also an excellent opportunity to share with you our 2024 Computer Science Educator of the Year, Kathleen Fugel from Fairfax County Public School. She will also be recognized at the December Board of Education meeting, along with other educators who have received various recognitions. This season, the Computer Science Education Week is the opening for nominations for the 2025 Computer Science Educator of the Year, and that is open open to anyone to nominate an educator. And please understand our nomination window is open for the classroom teacher, building administrators, ITRTs, really the full scope of all of those who are advancing and committed to the work of computer science education. And then lastly, wanted to share some news about our instructional resources. Go Open VA, we have redesigned and reorganized that CS Hub. We do know for some of our school divisions, Go Open VA is one of their primary sources of some of their instructional resources. So we wanted to make that easier to navigate, as well as spotlight a lot of the work that we are receiving from our awardees with the Advancing Computer Science Education Grant. And then next, our instructional guides. In accordance with all of the other areas of instruction, we will release our computer science instructional guides. These guides have 3 sections, starting with section 1, understanding the standards, really kind of break down and unpacking the standard. It's kind of the focus there. Skills and practices is section 2, section 3, concepts and connections. Section 3 is going to be very beneficial, in particular for our K-8 educators, as they look for opportunities for integration and where there are those concepts, content connections with the other core areas. And so what we have on the docket for next week, which is the next slide, we will solicit the opportunity to gauge and garner feedback from stakeholders on section 1. And so we have, in partnership with WHRO, we have a team of content writers who are working on those instructional guides, and they are in this kind of draft final review phase. And so we are hoping that we would have educators across the Commonwealth. And so for you to share this out, or for you to take the time to give us some feedback on these Understanding the Standards document that are scheduled for release in January. And then in the spring, we will have release of the entire instructional guide, sections 1, 2, and 3 in complete form. Deadline for your feedback would be December 5th, but access to the form is available in the slide deck. And once you have completed the form, you will receive the actual instructional guide that you are interested in providing feedback for. Of course, these are still in a confidential mode, so there is a non-disclosure agreement clause at the end of the form. So that concludes kind of the overview of the work that we have taken place across the state related to AI, as well as some updates in computer science.
Thank you, Keisha, for providing us this great information. And while Keisha did reference links, this presentation will be available on our website, on our VLAC website, and we can provide this to you as well. So our last problem statement, of course, has to do with the effective strategies to integrate computer science into the classroom. So you have that on your screen, and I will open the breakout rooms. And thank you, Amy Griffith from VAS. Griffin has joined us, as well as Dwayne Huff. Thank you. So I'll add you to a breakout room.
Mr. Fox, what time do we come back from the breakout room? Just so.
This one will go until about 11:45. So
Okay, thank you.
Welcoming our groups back to our main room. We want to thank you all for your group work, and we will have report outs. Group 1.
First of all, Reds, we just said as group 1 that next time we get to be group 3. So just make a note that group 1 wants to be group 3 next time. So no, we are happy to share out. We had some great discussion in our group. And so we really had discussion, then thought about key terms or key phrases that might go with this problem. And so one was natural connections, especially with the integrative part of K-8. You know, where are those natural connections? Can we be explicit? And I did explain that the VDOE is really working in that area as to where these natural connections are and being very intentional about having and highlighting those for our educators. We did talk about competing priorities too, you know, trying to get everything done and everything that is mandatory and compliance, and also some challenges associated with integrated parts, especially where does that accountability lie? It's not when it's not tied. So we're taking out the course part, but when it wasn't tied to a course, so, you know, ensuring when there's a flexibility in where that is integrated, how do we ensure that that accountability has been met and that this has been incorporated with integrity? We also talked about some challenges of smaller divisions, right? That they don't always have the same flexibility. They don't always have the staffing that has a separate area or courses to integrate the information is, and so that they can have, you know, special challenges that may need to be addressed. We also talked about how when there are mandates and when there's something, one of our group members brought up, you know, eSafe requirements. So there's a list of requirements that have to be met. So where do these fit into that? So how can we bring them together in order to not make it a separate thing, but yet more of a holistic approach that, you know, we're going to, you know, bring these different various discrete parts together. We talked about the concepts and connections piece again, and ensuring that we could make sure to be intentional about those connections, because we don't want to overwhelm our educators as they're trying to really implement with fidelity. And guys, if I missed anything, feel free to jump right in.
Excellent feedback. Thank you so much. Group 2.
All right, on behalf of Group 2, the focus there when we discussed implementation was awareness and understanding of computer science from a division level planning perspective, as well as the educators who may not have that prior knowledge or a fear of what CS is. And I think that ties to some of that feedback from Group 1 about being explicit, intentional, and natural connections, and right, really providing those supports. Another thing that we discussed were competing priorities that Group 1 mentioned. There is a lot for the classroom educator and for school divisions to implement. And so a conversation did occur about the accountability, about the data, and oftentimes when you're thinking about your priorities, you will address matters that have data points to it. We discussed as well the opportunities of Virtual Virginia as a source when staffing might be of a concern. I did share with the group that that is a great opportunity, and oftentimes one of the key things that school divisions leverage Yet I also shared a reference to the code.org State of CS National Report that showed that we currently at the high school level, so those standalone courses, we're at 68% of our high schools offer CS. So that is higher than our national average, which is 60%, yet lower than our averages years prior. And so that is something interesting to see and kind of unpack what are some of those contributing data points, because we do have opportunities such as Virtual Virginia that ultimately our data should not be decreasing on our abilities to offer computer science. And so I guess that will wrap up the conversation for room 2 to give space for room 3 since we are at 11:50.
Thank you.
Yeah, our room 3 wants all the rest of the time. No, I'm just kidding. We had a difficult time because we were responsible for the action part. And so I'm gonna say these 3 words because I was a theater person. I always like a good, nice alliteration. And that is, first, we need to define what is computer science, what is integration versus standalone, and how is that different than digital literacy. Next, we need to give domains and be like, this person is responsible for this part. Because that's kind of what's lacking. We hope that in the instructional guides that will come out, that like the English teacher can teach this part of computer science, the math teacher can teach this part of computer science, so that the integration isn't everybody every day all the time, and then there's a lack of accountability. And then the last one is we need dollars. We need to make sure we apply for those Axes grants or those ARCS grants and put it towards the people who are responsible for integrating computer science, having the professional development and instructional material support for that integration.
Excellent. And I know that Keisha appreciates all of the feedback that has been given in this area today. I want to really compliment this group and this committee for your work today and your participation. We almost have 100%, which is really making me smile today in our office. And we really can't do this work without you in the field, and just know how important it is what you bring to the table. We appreciate it so much. And with that said, we want to give way to ask, are there any other areas that you would like to see brought to this committee within the realm of our work? So I'd like to hear from you. Anything that you would like to see on the agenda or that you want us to go back and take a look at as we prepare to come back to you in the spring? What are some things that came to your mind as we went through this agenda today?
How will we come back and measure the effect of the problem statements we discussed today? So I think we had very good conversations. When I first saw the problem statements, my first reaction was, as measured by what? And so now that we've had these conversations, how will we be able to come back later and see how, whether it's recommendations that we came up with or suggestions, how will we be able to see that we're making progress towards some ultimate end goal measures associated with the problem statements that we discussed?
Excellent. And that I just was going to comment that goes along with the problem, the tenets of your groups and how we are talking about implementation and action. So we can certainly take that into consideration. I'm sorry, who was speaking?
I was just going to say, I love the way that you weaved in those exemplars. That's always a good opportunity for us to think outside the box, figure out which colleagues to reach out to. So I would encourage you to continue with those. I got more notes on that section. And then, the last thing I would say, and I'm so appreciative that Michelle's in this group, our elementary teachers are getting killed. the same human beings are doing VLA, are doing new math standards, will be doing new social studies standards, the all-in tutoring requirements, the intervention requirements. They are just getting killed. So I think it's really important when we're rolling something out that could potentially impact them in particular, that we are identifying how it fits into the whole puzzle, because I'm just really concerned about our fleet of elementary teachers. I'm not going to lie to you, like the thought of me telling them they have to do these other standards, I probably should have known that, so I'll just be vulnerable, but I didn't. I have just dread in my heart because of the volume of things we're doing at the same time, all very important, all the right work, all laudable, all yay. But in a change management framework, it's a lot. And so I just ask that we always keep in mind all the other initiatives happening at the same time, so that, you know, like right now, I think every single district is dedicating every second of professional learning to VLA. So we're already sacrificing math, quite frankly. And so just that awareness of the big picture, I think, is critical for all of us in trying to lead our teachers through this really important work.
Thank you for that feedback. And the key, what you said, all important work. We're all grabbing at the same staff and trying to raise our achievement level with all, so that all students are successful. Well, in addition, on that last slide, I did have to mark your calendars for the week of April 28th or the week of May 5th. What we do is we look at the calendar to see if there are any major conflicts. We want to avoid, if we can, you know, testing that window starts. And so, you know, speaking of competing events, we just want to try to look at the calendar and find a date in one of those weeks that will work best for us. And it would be on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. And this next meeting, we are required to have a meeting in person. So more than likely, it can be at the DARS building if available. We like to partner with other government agencies, and they've opened their doors to us in the past. So we will definitely get information out to you sooner. We will work on additional impacts of these problem statements that we discussed. Thank you for that feedback already. That's great. The VAST conference. We'll try to incorporate exemplars as you've stated, and we're just willing and thankful to bring information back to you so that we can have vital discussion again. Any final comments, Dr. Wallace, Calypso, Meg, Keisha?
I just want to say thank you. It's always such a wonderful time to spend these couple hours with you. We love your feedback. We appreciate you tremendously. We support you and appreciate all the hard work that you provide. And we look forward to working with you over hopefully these next 6 months to build some really good agenda for what we can do. And thank you for your feedback. It's very valuable, and it is noted and it is appreciated. And thank you so much for about the exemplars. That was new to add that. And it's always nice to hear, you know, a positive outcome. And again, we hear you on that as well. And thank you.
And we have some thank yous in the chat. Thank you.
All for being here.
We appreciate you. All right. This ends our meeting today. Have a wonderful day and enjoy your holiday season. Kevin, would I need to turn this back over to you?
Nope, you can just go ahead and end it. Good to go.
Great job, team.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll debrief. Have a good day.